Hi, welcome to the Action Speak Network. Senator Cory Booker was on Meet the Press today where he had a very interesting exchange with Christine Walker. They talk about the ongoing protest in LA and the deployment of the National Guard by President Trump. Please watch this video till the end.
I do have to start with President Trump saying he plans to deploy the National Guard to Los Angeles to deal with the protesters there. The president bypassing the governor and federalizing the Guard himself. He says he did so because Governor Gavin Newsom and LA Mayor Karen Bass refused to act against the unrest. What is your response to President Trump's decision to deploy the National Guard?
Look, since years before I was born, law enforcement knows it's good when there's cooperation and coordination. For the president to do this when it wasn't requested, breaking with generations of tradition, is only going to incite the situation and make things worse. We are now at a point where we have a president who sat back and did nothing as people stormed our Capitol, viciously beat police. And then when those people who viciously beat police and led to some of their deaths, therefore cop killers, were convicted by juries, he then pardoned them all. So for him to be talking to anybody right now about responsive law enforcement to protect people is hypocritical at best. The reality is we see peaceful protests launching in Los Angeles. And again, any violence against police officers should not be accepted. Local authorities can handle that. But remember, a lot of these peaceful protests are being generated because the President of the United States is sowing chaos and confusion by arresting people who are showing up for their immigration hearings, who are trying to abide by the law. He's arresting them. And you see this in communities that are Republican, Trump supporters, being outraged that he's raiding kitchens and arresting people, high schools and arresting people who are not what he said he would do, which is focus law enforcement resources on violent criminals and people that are a danger to other Americans.
All right, Senator, let's move on to Kilmar Abrego Garcia, returned to the United States to face human trafficking charges more than 2 months after being mistakenly sent to El Salvador. In my phone interview with President Trump on Saturday, he called Senator Chris Van Hollen, your Democratic colleague, who of course went to El Salvador to meet with Mr. Abrego Garcia, a quote, loser. And he signaled that he thinks Democrats' support of Abrego Garcia will cost the party electorally. What say you? Do you think that Democrats made a mistake by making Abrego Garcia the face of the fight for due process?
Look, Chris Van Hollen is a champion for the Constitution because a threat to due process rights of anyone is a threat to due process rights for everyone. The President of the United States has been violating a 9-0 court order from the Supreme Court of the United States of America, including 3 people he put there himself. There is a unanimity amongst legal scholars that everyone has a right to due process, and anyone who stands up for that, even for people who are not as don't inspire necessarily public adoration. We understand that in our nation, when you come after our Constitution, you are doing the wrong thing. And here's the challenge. Abrego Garcia is back, but there are over 250 people that Donald Trump has sent there, 50 of whom who entered our country legally, who did not get a day in court, who we do not know the truth or the facts of their cases, that have been sent not to a prison, but to a place that human rights activists have said is more of a gulag, where people's human rights are being violated.
One day,